This video is protected by fair use. It is not for profit. It is for free. Share it freely. It is for the purposes of criticism and commentary and free speech and teaching. Please like this video if you enjoy my content and subscribe to all of my channels: the Sanity Machine, El Diablo channel, Crimes of Beauty channel. Hit the like button. It takes half a second. It helps people find my channel. It helps my channel show up in the YouTube search results. It does help. This video is for mature audiences only. Viewer discretion is advised. Adults only. May contain some strong language, an F-bomb here and there. So I'm with them when it comes to this part. It makes no sense. It's not moral. It's not logical. It's not fair to create beings that sin, quote sin. I don't buy into the concept of sin. I think it's bogus. I think it's bullshit. I think Jesus coming here to save us is bullshit. I don't think the world is any better post-Jesus, if Jesus existed at all, which is unprovable. So whether you believe it or not, doesn't really matter. If you think about it. The world is worse now than in the times when they say that Jesus was here. It's worse. And it's getting worse. Year by year, decade by decade, even just in my own lifetime, much less, let's say, my parents and my grandparents, when they were born, up until now. It's gotten much worse in many ways. World wars aside. And I realize, but those were set up to begin with, but that's another story. But you get what I'm saying. I'm talking about for the average person in countries that are not war-torn, things are getting a lot worse. A lot of evil's being done. You could say, well, they lived through a war. Well, fair enough. They lived through a war. They lived through a Great Depression, which was another setup. Stock market crash. It's all set up. Cold War was a setup. It's all set up. It's all fake. But what was done to their food? Not what's done today. Their air in the sky? Not what's done today. Their water? Nope. All that stuff in my grandmother's era was pure in her youth, when she was a child or a teenager or 20 or 30 years old. Okay? Very different. Things are way worse in certain ways that people won't look at these days. Way worse. And I'm not blaming my grandparents. I'm just talking about the proof that things in the span of a grandparent's lifetime, things have gotten way worse in many respects. Here, in this country, in this continent. Okay? Do you understand? Hope you're with me so far. I'm just, but I realized something tonight, that people are really at different levels, and I'm too harsh sometimes on the people that are new to this. I have to be more patient. People can't just hop on my channel and see everything. There's a lot of content here. They can't just get up to speed with what I'm talking about in a day or a week or a month. Sometimes I kind of forget. There's a lot of freaking content on here, so I'll try to be more patient with people. Say to yourself, do I really want to come back and live that way and risk it? Because that's a possibility. And what my whole thing is, don't do it. That's what my advice is. Don't come back and risk that. I'm not going to. I can't force you. It's up to you. It's your choice. But I'm trying to arm you with all the information that you'll need to make that choice if you want to choose freedom. And take the risk. Freedom is risky. Again, I've said this in previous videos, but some people have said to me, Stephen, what if it's worse? What if you end up in a reality worse than this one? What if the great unknown is scary out in the darkness beyond this matrix? So be it. Freedom is risky. I'm willing to take the risk. I'm willing to take that risk because I want to be free. And I'm not satisfied with being a slave or cattle and leeched off of in this realm. I can't be free here. Nobody in this matrix is truly free. In this earth realm, in this earth level of the matrix. You can't be free here, and I won't settle for that. I want freedom. Like the hippies used to say, we want freedom. They never got close to freedom. They just deceived themselves. It's another matrix deception, another psyop, the whole hippie movement. The 1960s was a psyop in so many ways. Laurel Canyon, the music industry, from Jefferson Airplane to the Doors to Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin, you name it. All of those bands, Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, all the ones at Woodstock, they're all part of it. Out in Laurel Canyon, concentrated area in that part of that area, it's basically a suburb of Los Angeles, was not the way it is these days. But, of course, military intelligence and propaganda films were right nearby, where Jared Leto now owns that as a mansion. Used to be a CIA military film studio. I think it was the Navy intelligence working with the CIA, making these propaganda films for war with Hollywood. And Hollywood is the music industry. It's all connected. The CIA, Hollywood, music, movies, all of it. It's all connected. It's all connected. They run the show. Okay? How did I get on that topic? Anyways, I want freedom, man. Freedom. The hippies used to talk about freedom. I want real freedom. Real freedom. Real freedom. Glorious freedom. Just glorious. That's what I want. And I don't just want that for me. I'm not just being selfish saying, I just want to be free and screw everyone else. Leave them here. No, not at all. You think I could forget about the innocents here? The innocent ones is what I'm talking about. Children, people, whether they're male, female, adult, whatever. They could be 18 or 88, elderly people as well. I'm not going to just forget them. They don't deserve this. Unless they're evil, unless they're a demon. In which case, yeah, they should be sealed in here then. I don't want to spend eternity with demons. That's another part. I've seen too many in my lifetime already. Okay? I'm not doing the Cry Me a River. People have lives worse, way worse than mine. And I'm aware of that. It doesn't make me feel good. That doesn't make me smile knowing that others suffer way worse than I ever did. It doesn't make me smile. Okay? If anything, it makes me sad. And it motivates me to end this place. This has to be ended. Because it never should have existed. So people get thrown off sometimes. They heard the word soul trap. Trap, we're trapped forever. No, it's misleading. Just like when I call this hell realm. Oh, we're being punished here for what we did? No. It is hell, but we're not being punished. You don't deserve this, is my message. You don't deserve this. You don't deserve to see your loved ones suffer and die. You don't deserve that. Have you ever lost a pet? Have you ever had to put one of your pets to sleep and they die in your arms? It's brutal. It's heartbreaking. It's painful. And it doesn't just go away in a day or a week or weeks. If you really love your pet and you're attached to your pet. Right? And there's more, of course. There's tons of suffering here. There's physical suffering that people suffer when they're in chronic pain and they have diseases. There's people with diabetes, multiple sclerosis. There's people with all sorts of issues, children with leukemia, people that are blind, people that have sight and go blind from various diseases, macular degeneration, etc. There's so much here. There's so much suffering and so many ways to suffer. Suffering and trauma are their worst teachers. The exact opposite of what Matt McKinley of Quantum of Conscious preaches. They're the worst teachers. They inhibit learning. If I'm hitting you and making you suffer and traumatizing you, you're going to take longer to learn a lesson that somebody could teach you gently with patience and love and kindness and understanding and a genuine desire to have you learn something and make it fun. Imagine that. Imagine if learning was fun and made fun in a school. It never was. School was never fun for me. Rare instances, I can't say never, sorry. There were rare little instances where something about it was fun. For like 1 day or 1 hour or one gym class or something, we had fun playing floor hockey. We had those sticks indoor in the gym and the little plastic puck. You could send from one end of the gym in the air to the other without touching the floor. But anyway, we had some fun doing that. But for the most part, sitting in the classrooms was torture to a lot of us. And it was indoctrination. But anyway, I'm going way off topic here. I'm sorry, people. I'm sorry for this long rant. Sorry, people, I'm sorry. Do I think there are better places out there beyond this hell realm, this matrix? Absolutely. Is it just hopium? No. Is it just copium? No. Is it just a mental comfort zone or cope mechanism? No. I would bet on it. I might be wondering, what would you bet on it, Stephen? My life. Does that mean I'm going to end it right now? No, of course not. I have a lot to learn still. I'm still learning more every day, every week. And thinking more and getting inspired by conversations with other people where they spark a little something or they give me a different perspective or they put me in another direction and I kind of look this way a little bit where I might have been looking too straight ahead or too tunnel vision momentarily and then they kind of make me look a little bit at this and think about this and think about that. I love that. I love when people do that. I love that. I love when people can spark that in me. I just love it. And yeah, I hope I can do the same for you. I hope I can spark some ideas and give you a different perspective and have you thinking a little bit differently or going off the beaten track or going off the train tracks, taking a little detour, maybe looking this way and saying, yeah, I never looked at it that way. I would be happy if I could do that for you. Excuse me, whoever's listening to me right now, I would be happy. I would be happy if my videos on my channel help you. That's what this is about, is helping. Helping and healing. And healing some of the trauma is making you realize you don't have to be a slave or a Stockholm Syndrome slave. This topic is empowering. It's not disempowering. It's empowering. It's about saying, I don't want to be a slave in this realm. I don't want to be a slave to anyone, to a government, to a religion, to a fake-ass lying media, to corrupt secret societies, Freemasons, to Satanists, to anything, to evil itself, or to entities, evil entities. You could call it a demiurge, Satan, whatever you want to call it, a monster, whatever it is, archons. An AI system, an evil AI system could be running this whole thing. And you could be finally saying to yourself, hey, I don't want to be a slave to this, and Stephen's channel helped me. Well, double thumbs up. That is beautiful. I'd love that. And I mean that sincerely. I would love that as much as basically somebody handing me a beautiful gift. Because I do appreciate it. I appreciate gifts, but I love when somebody can learn something from what I'm saying or sharing, and it helps them in a real way, a real, tangible, practical way, and also in a spiritual way. Beyond this physical realm, spiritually. Okay? Because I do think that if you're like me, you're an eternal being. You're beyond this place. You're better than this place. I'll go that far. As weird as that might sound, because we're always told, oh, that's wrong to say. We're not better than whatever. We should just settle for any scraps. And, they try to guilt us saying, if you throw any little tiny scrap, I don't know if you grew up like the way I did, but you almost weren't allowed to scrape anything off your plate. It had to be basically clean. Otherwise, you were guilted for it, where there's starving kids. It's the last thing I want to think of. If you want to make a kid sick, tell them they're starving kids. They don't feel good about that. They feel terrible then. They feel terrible about having food to eat. You can guilt your kids that much. Anyways, don't do that if you're parents. I think that's abuse. It's mental abuse. Who cares if they throw out a little bit of food? I realize food's expensive. Yeah, I get it. But on the other hand, don't damage your children if you have children. Please don't do that. Because a lot of kids are sensitive and they think to themselves as they're hearing this, they're thinking, wow, I don't want to eat now because there's children that are starving. They don't like the thought of other children starving. Okay? So don't use that against them. If you have to throw out some food, So be it. It's not the end of the world. Okay? In the end, everything gets fucking turned to shit here anyways. The food itself, when you think about it, whether it's scraps or they eat it and poop it out, that's what happens to it. That's what happens to everything here. Everything in this realm gets turned into food, essentially. Get it? Including our bodies. Here, if you're locked in the coffin, eventually that disintegrates. It rusts or the wood rots. Eventually, you're getting eaten at some stage. You're being absorbed into this. The body will be. So anyway, so do the animals in nature. So does everything. So do the vegetables if they rot out in the fields. Or if they're thrown in a dumpster, they'll rot in the landfill. Everything does. So when you look at it in big picture, you say to yourself, wow, yeah. So why should I harm the ones that I claim to love, my loved ones, my children, and guilt fucking trip them that way, and mentally abuse them? Okay? A lot of parents mentally abuse their children without even realizing it, without even stopping to think about it. Anyway, I'm going to move forward in this video. There's just so much that comes to my mind about this realm. I'm so glad I don't have children. I'm so glad I didn't bring children in here to suffer in this warped place that is ruled by evil. Yes, there is beauty, but nature is beautiful and brutal. And it's the brutal part that most people don't think of or see or notice or want to face. It takes strength to see both. I want to see the whole truth. If somebody said the truth is over there, I want to look in 360 degrees to make sure I'm not missing the real truth behind me or beside me somewhere. And when I look at nature, I don't just see beauty. I see how brutal it is too. Do I think of that all the time? No. Do I think of it the whole time I'm in nature? No. I still don't. Even though I've known for years it's brutal. For the most part, I take in the beauty. And I kind of do get lost in the beauty a bit. I admit to that. When I'm out in nature, out in the forest, and there's no people around, I don't hear people's voices or yelling and screaming and talking about what's on television and all that stuff, or some of the gross, stupid things people talk about. And you're just out there, and it's peaceful and, solitude. Some of us love solitude. Solitude is not loneliness. Solitude can be solace for some of us. It can be healing. Solitude. Peaceful. But nature is still beautiful and brutal. And if you don't believe me, what are the birds eating? Oh, the worms. Are they alive? Yeah. Are they getting eaten alive? Yeah. Even on that level. Even if you live somewhere without tremendous wildlife, like a big variety, you can still notice that stuff.